Hey, visionaries! You are now tuned in to the Starts with a Vision podcast, where everything you do in life starts with a vision. If your vision is clear or foggy, you are in the right place. It's time to go take what's yours, because there's a vision only you can see, and a dream only you can dream. And now, your host, Mr. Starts with a Vision.
What is going on, guys? This is Isaiah Fowler, aka Mr. SWAV, Mr. Starts with a Vision, and today's guest is amazing and phenomenal, man. Today's guest is Earnest Epps. He is an e-commerce, I'm not going to say guru, but he is a master, a whiz at what he does, and he is blowing up. When I say blowing up, I mean blowing up. Like, seriously. And he is the guy to follow when it comes to e-commerce. He specializes in high-ticket products. And the thing about it is, he is running 0 Facebook ads and is murdering the game. So you definitely want to tune in. You definitely want to check him out. And you definitely want to listen to this episode because it is going to change your life. So I'm not going to keep talking about how amazing he is. I'm going to let you listen to him yourself. What's going on, everybody? It is Isaiah Fowler, a.k.a. Mr. SWAV, and we have a legend in the making on the line right now. We have somebody in e-commerce who has been, would you say you're a best-kept secret, Ernest?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I never thought about it that way, but yes, indeed.
I think that, because I found you on Facebook. I think somebody tagged you in something. And I saw you because I like see who's doing stuff in like e-commerce and other industries or niches, and I never had heard about you. And then somebody say like you were the man, and then I just added you and I kind of followed you, and just to see what they were talking about and bragging about. But I saw that you were real humble and real cool and calm. You know what I mean? Like, you're not out there too much. But as time went on, I saw you started to kind of like come out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I did a Facebook Live a few weeks ago telling people that I was going to be a little more proactive on my personal page because I've always separated the content that I would have on my personal profile versus content that I would deliver in a lot of the private groups that I was part of because they're specifically geared towards e-com. But I was just like, you know what? Like, there might be other people that want more from me, and I'm doing the marketplace an injustice by not getting that information out there for people.
Right. And that's a good way to look at it, is you're doing them and the world an injustice by not putting your message out there, because a lot of times people make it seem like you're annoying if you do put your message out there, but you're really doing them an injustice by not giving them all this information.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, part of that Facebook Live I did, I prefaced that, hey, like, if you're going to be annoyed by me putting out more positive content, like information that's going to help accelerate somebody's success, specifically in e-commerce or just in life in general, to just unfriend me. Right. So there's no hard feelings, because if that's not what you want to see, like, I don't want to put people in a position where it's awkward and they're just like, man, that guy Ernest is, he's posting something else about e-commerce and how he's going to help someone else make an extra $10,000 this week. So right. if that annoys you, then I'm sorry.
Right. I don't know why that would annoy you if you're striving for success.
Yep. Yeah, it shouldn't. But, the thing is, sometimes people are weird, Right. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's something that you can't really explain, but it just, it is what it is. That's kind of how people are. And you just have to roll with that and just say, that's how they are, and keep it pushing.
Absolutely, yeah. One of the things I've learned well with just dealing with people in all different types of environments is you can't stop a winner from winning, and you can't stop a quitter from quitting. Ooh, so those that's going to win are going to find a way. Winners find a way, losers just find an excuse.
Exactly.
Because anything, and I think we were just talking about this not too long ago, like, anything that comes up, you can really use as an excuse. My dog has to use the bathroom and no one can walk him tonight, so I'm not going to work on uploading products on my store. Right. It's just like, those products specifically could be the best ones that the marketplace could be looking for on your website, but the simple fact that you got visitors coming to them and they can't see them is a problem.
Right.
So, any little thing could be turned into a big thing. And it's crazy because I've seen that happen so many times. I had a coaching client of mine where, she told me she wanted to, pause her services. She wasn't pausing my payment. She was still paying me. Because I wasn't going to have that. So, but she was going to pause her services because she was going on a cruise, like a vacation for like 2 weeks. And I said, okay, that's cool. And I was just like, so do they got Wi-Fi on the cruise? She said, yeah. And I was like, so you have a laptop, right? She's like, yeah. I was like, well, what are you doing on the cruise today? She's like, you got me. I was just like, no, like, what are you doing? Right. You need to be working while you're on that cruise. Like, there's 24 hours. All right, let's say you got 8 that you're sleeping. You got 16 left, like, on this cruise that you're not doing any, like, work for your corporate job or for your business. Why not apply that to something that's going to be productive to help you grow your e-com business like you say you want to have it grown?
Right.
So then, she really got exposed as far as, like, you can, what her intentions is, like, with her business. Her business is to really treat it like a hobby, not treat it like a business.
Right. So how long ago was that?
So this was a client of mine. She's actually been working with me for about a year. And so after her cruise, like, she decided to actually really take it serious for whatever reason. And she actually got her store up and live. And she's consistently, like, bringing in sales now. That she's putting in, like, consistent effort. So it is good to see the other side of that, for her specifically. But the crazy thing is because most people don't have somebody like myself or like you to hold them accountable and be there and be straight up with them, that, they're not going to be able to take that action. And because she's specifically, working with me, I'm going to hold somebody accountable and make sure that you do what you say you want to have done.
Right, 100%, man, 100%. So how did your whole the whole e-commerce journey get started for Mr. Epps, man? I think it's interesting. I love hearing about the journeys, but how did it get started? Because I know we were talking, and you said it's been a while, but you just started taking it serious a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so I got started back in really 2009. Most people only see, like, my last 2 years because that's when things really started, ramping up, and I was able to, replace my full-time income fairly quickly once I made that decision. But, I always like to remind people that, no, I didn't get started, within, like, the last 2 years. I really started back in 2009, which, it's 2017 right now. So that's like, what was that, like 8 years?
It's 8 years.
That, that I said that I wanted to, like, do e-commerce. And to be honest, I was kind of like the lady I just described a little bit. I was working in corporate America. I was working as a marketing director at the time when I ran across e-commerce, and I said it was something I wanted to do. But I tell people for years what I did was poke at it. Meaning that I had the intentions of wanting to have an e-commerce business, but I never was consistent with my activity and my actions. I was consistent with my lip game, with my words, but I wasn't consistent with the activity that needed to take place in order to really be successful. So, I attempted to do e-commerce. I dabbled in, like, doing a little bit of affiliate marketing. I dabbled with writing blog posts and, using AdSense, which, if you guys don't know what that is, AdSense is like a program that Google has so you can generate income for people clicking on advertisements on, like, your website. So, I was just attempting to do just a ton of different things on the internet, but because I was so distracted from what I was doing corporate-wise, like helping make the companies I was working for a lot of money, which ultimately, ended up to me getting laid off at one company, another company just going bankrupt, and me just having to find another place to work. One instance, I was working as a sales director for a marketing firm, and, I helped them build up a huge sales team on the East Coast from South Carolina to Massachusetts through 77 Walmarts, working on a project for them, and, they fired me. So it was just like, after all these, like, ups and downs in corporate, I was just, like, so fed up. And at that last place as a sales director, I just knew I needed to do something else, and I really didn't know what that was. And, at this time I had 2 kids. And so I'm like, I took it kind of personal, like, but, like, you guys know I have a family, you guys, know I have a fiance, like, I got, outside of providing for them, we have bills to pay. And the thing is that they could have moved me to another project, and they just chose not to after I started helping them bring in like millions of dollars a month on their bottom line. Like I had gotten so good at what I was doing. They were flying people from all over the country into Virginia for me to train personally, because I had developed such a knack for, running, multiple different projects for, different companies and stuff. So I just got fed up and said, man, I need to do something else. And I didn't know what that something was at the time, but I just knew I needed to do something.
Right.
So I transitioned to actually launching my own marketing firm, and I acquired a contract with a cable company pretty quickly. But working on that contract, I started to see like their back end was just horrific, like terrible customer service. And I'm a big customer service guy. I know that, if you take care of people on the front end and you can do that, really well on the back end, customers will go out and be your biggest salesperson that you could possibly imagine.
Right.
So, that piece was just lacking immensely at that organization. So I said, man, I need to do something else. And so in between that contract I had and thinking about doing something else, I was scrolling through my Facebook news feed on my cell phone, and I seen an ad that popped up talking about drop shipping and e-commerce. And the first thing I thought to myself was like, oh my God, like e-commerce, drop shipping, nobody can be successful doing that.
Really?
I was like, the only people that I know that are successful doing that are people that sprinkle fairy dust and dance around on a unicorn.
Right.
Like, I ain't met nobody that's ever told me they had an e-com business or internet business that was actually making money. I hadn't met anybody up until this point, after all the years of me attempting to do stuff. And so I naturally thought that, I couldn't be successful doing it. But I was curious enough to just kind of learn a little bit more. And so I went to, YouTube University.
Absolutely.
And started educating myself. And I started to see, like, some other reviews of other people. And I was like, wow, like, there are people that are out there actually making money and successful in e-commerce. And one of the things that I was always infatuated about e-commerce was the fact that you could actually make money while you were sleeping. Like, you could build a website, and if people could find it, you could essentially just, print money. So I was just like, man, if I could learn how to do this, this would be awesome. I always had this quote in my mind that I learned like years ago that said, if you don't learn how to make money while you sleep, you're going to work until you die.
Right.
So I said, e-commerce, like, that can be something that I could do that could put me in a position to be able to make money, that I can make, that I won't have to like trade my time for. Because the only other vehicles that I've seen that you can do that is like real estate or like the stock market. And, in order to play in those games, at least from, my perspective, is, you had to come to the game with some money in hand. You had to come with a few $1,000s in order to make some decent money, especially if you're looking at making a full-time income. But e-commerce, the thing that always attracted it to myself was the fact that you didn't have to have a lot of money to get started. So I was just like, man, if I could just learn how to do this, like, this would be really awesome. So I educated myself a little bit, and I remember the day that I made the decision to actually do e-commerce, like, for real. I said that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this business, like, just for a short period of time. I didn't even make a long commitment. I said, Ernest, just do this business, follow everything that you've learned up to this point, and just do and implement everything that you've learned just for a month or two. Just see what happens. Give this business model the same effort that you were giving to the companies that you were working for. Just do that. Just do that one thing. Like, that's the only thing. That's the only thing I promised myself. And so September 2nd, 2015, I made the decision to get into e-commerce, specifically doing drop shipping. And I was able to launch my first site within 22 days. So I launched September 24th, 2017. And I actually got my first sale in less than 48 hours. And it was for $340.
Really?
Yep.
That's a big one, because I'm used to, hearing about like T-shirts and, products that are $15, $20 and stuff like that. So your first store and sale was $300 and something.
Yep, it was $340. I remember exactly where I was when I heard the infamous cha-ching, which is a notification that Shopify makes. Sounds like a cash register. Yeah, I was driving home. I was getting ready to pull into my neighborhood, and then like the little buzz came off. I was like, "What's that?" Like,
right.
I don't got
used to that sound.
Like, there ain't no cash register in my car.
Right.
And I like freaked out because I was like, somebody bought something. Like, is this real? Is it fraud?
Right.
Like, did this happen on accident? And so like I checked everything out, and I was just like, all right, looks legit. And I hit the process payment, and it went through. I was like, oh man, like, what do I do next? Right. Like, I don't even know what to do next. So let me contact the supplier and let them know I got an order, and something I need to do to process the order. And it just everything worked out with that first order. I was like, man, like, maybe I can continue to do this a little bit. But yeah, one of the things that I've been personally able to master is to help not only myself but help other people find products that are a higher value in the marketplace, and to offer those products on their website in specific niches that again that are higher ticket dollar amounts. Because I figured, one of the things I figured out when I wanted to do e-commerce was the fact that it takes the same amount of effort to sell something for $2,000 as it does for $20.
Absolutely.
The only difference is, you just make more money with $2,000.
That's what's up, man. So like, so in September is when you started the store, and you also got your first sale, everything. When did you quit your job after that? Like, how long did it take for you to be like, you know what, I'm done with this?
Yeah, so it took me 7 months to replace my full-time income. So from the day I started, it was about 7 months that I replaced my full-time income. And then within 2 months after that, I decided to walk away from my full-time job, because as soon as I replaced my income, I was like, that's cool, but, let's make sure it's consistent.
Right.
I think most people would be like, as soon as they get that, first month of like, $8,000, $10,000, $15,000, they'd be like, all right, I'm good, I'm quitting, I'm done. But I was just like, let's make sure like, people don't just like disappear on the internet or something.
Right.
So I 2 months later, I wind up, walking away from my full-time job. So it was like a full cycle, like 9 months. And then like, as soon as I quit my job, like that next month, I did $52,000 in revenue, and I made $17,000 net profit. Nice. And I was just like, yeah,
this is what's up, huh?
Yep.
Right. And then from there, like what happened with your life? Did you just keep doing that? Did you like say, I'm gonna just go balls to the wall and I'm gonna like make $800K a month, or like what did it look like?
Yeah, so really, it looked like, just really like just pure freedom. Because at that point, I went on, what I would consider like a travel excursion. So I got invited to come out to Hawaii and run a workshop out there. So actually I ran 2 workshops in Hawaii. And then as soon as I flew back to Hawaii, I went down to Florida. I mean, like literally, I was in Hawaii for like 2 weeks. I came back to the States, and I was down in Florida for like almost 2 weeks too as well, because I had a buddy of mine that had a bachelor party down there. Right. And I just decided to stay because I could. So I stayed down in Florida for a few days, and then I left Florida, and I think I went up to Cleveland. And I left Cleveland. I was down in Charlotte, North Carolina for a little bit. Then I left Charlotte. I went up to New York, and then I went down to Jersey to hang out with one of my boys. And then actually I got invited back up to New York, because somebody hit me up like, hey, I didn't get a chance to see you. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll just come up to New York. So I went back to New York. And so I was just kind of like, just like living the dream, like just having a blast, just doing whatever I want. When I wanted to do it, and the revenue just keep coming in, and so inevitably that segued into a lot of people hearing about my success. So I started doing a lot. I was starting to be a lot more active with doing coaching and consulting with people, and then I started getting a little bit more media attention, hopping on a lot of different podcasts and radio shows, to eventually leading into me getting my first paid speaking engagement in Barcelona, Spain. And so I got invited to come speak out in Spain, and I went on pretty much what I would call like my life list, not a bucket list, but my life list of locations and places that I wanted to go, that literally, like, man, I mean, like, if you don't have your dreams and goals written down, like, in front of you on a consistent basis, or like really buried into your mind, like, man, I'm telling you, that stuff can really happen. I don't care like what it is that you have, because I had a picture of the Roman Colosseum on a daily planner journal that I had. I used to carry this journal around for years, and I would have never thought I was going to be able to get an opportunity to go to the Roman Colosseum.
Right.
And nor did I ever think someone else would be able to pay for me to go to the Roman Colosseum.
Right.
Like, my speaker fee covered all my travels to 6 different countries.
Dang, that's good stuff.
Crazy. And so, that was able to become a reality, all because I told myself that I was going to make a commitment back in September 2nd, 2015, and I stuck to and true to that commitment. So I got to go to Barcelona, Spain. I got to go to Paris. I got to go to Iceland. I got to go to, obviously, Rome. I went to London. And the funny thing is, I actually forgot I was supposed to go to Poland. Mm-hmm. I actually didn't remember until I was in Poland.
Really?
Yeah. So I booked the flight, and I never booked the hotel or anything like that. I just booked the flight. And so I'm in Poland. I land, and, I'm getting off the plane. I'm just like, all right, cool, I'm in Poland. I'm like, so, am I catching a connector? Like, what's happening? And, I look at, my travel arrangement. I'm like, man, there's a gap to this next flight, like 2 days. Like, what's going on? I'm in Poland. And I looked, I was like, oh, you know what? I bought this ticket for Poland. That's right. I'm supposed to hang out here for a little bit. It was in Warsaw. Uh-huh. And I was just like, all right, cool. So, hung out in Warsaw, Poland for a little bit. Got to go to the Royal Castle and a couple other, tourist places and stuff like that. And, when I was in London, I put together an event out there, which turned out to be absolutely amazing. We had over 20 people show up. It was so many people asking to come to the event I put together in London that literally I had to like tell people, like, stop messaging me, like, we're too packed, because we'd only originally planned for like 12 people. Uh-huh. And then we got up to like 22, and like, so the location that we booked it at, they were like upset that there was like more people there than what we intended. Right. Because you put together engagements and stuff, like, they expect X amount of people. Right. When they originally do everything. So like, when you're over, they want to charge you more. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, nah, that's not happening. Right. But we made it happen and had a blast in London. It was absolutely amazing. I got to meet some phenomenal people, some phenomenal individuals. And I have a ton of opportunities that have just come to fruition, as far as like me being able to speak on multiple different stages. I have a company that's flying me out to Thailand to speak out there. I've got another speaking engagement coming up in New York. I'm actually coming down to your neck of the woods today. I never even told you. Oh, really? I'm coming down to Atlanta. Yeah, I'm coming down to Atlanta tonight. And I'm putting on a speaking engagement on Monday.
Oh, shoot. Didn't even know that. Well, yeah, we could talk about that offline.
No, it's been crazy, man. It's just really like just all happening because of like, again, that commitment I made, but more importantly now just like getting this content and information out to the marketplace and just really having a passion for wanting to serve people. Right.
That's deep. And so talk about the event in Thailand. Like, how did that even come about? Because you told me earlier, but I think that I want everybody listening to know just the power of, how you got this engagement.
Yeah, so this is just an example of how I've been able to really get a lot of the, opportunities that have been presented themselves, like, even connected with you and us hopping together on this podcast and, the radio show engagements. But, this event all came as a result of a gentleman by the name of Chad. He's actually creative director and manages speakers for a company called Affiliate World Conferences, where they literally put on like the largest conferences in the world for affiliate marketers. It's going to be over 4,000 people at this event in Thailand. And so Chad had listened to and heard me from a podcast interview that I did almost 2 years ago. And he heard me from that podcast, and he just assumed that I might be somebody that he might want to kind of follow a little bit, just kind of put on his radar. And so Chad had, decided to friend request me and follow me in a couple different groups that I'm a part of on social media. And he's seen my growth over the last 2 years. And so with this upcoming event that they're putting together, they wanted to have some experts come in and specifically talk about e-commerce. And so it presented the opportunity for him to actually reach out to me directly and then interview me and then bring me to the board for the event that they had. But yeah, it was just a result of me just out here taking action and sharing with people like some of the results that I've been able to get, and not from like a boastful like, hey, look at me, look what I'm doing, but more so like, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. This is what I did to get these results, but this is what I'm doing to get these results.
Right.
So hey, if you try to do this too, you will be able to potentially get these same results.
Absolutely.
And so that's the main difference between me and a lot of other people that's out here. A lot of people just like, hey, I'm doing like, $100,000 a month, but it's just like, all right, well, how did you do that? And then, they just like, hey, let me send you this link so you can pay, $5,000 for my course.
Right.
Versus, I'm actively putting content out there that's in the $5,000 course, but not charging anything for it. Now, there's obviously more stuff that you're going to need to do from like a hands-on perspective, and with e-commerce, there's a lot of moving pieces. But the thing is just like getting people like information specifically that stuff that I'm doing in order to create success and results. Even the other day I shared a tax update about the state of I want to say Washington, specifically for like e-commerce people that are doing drop shipping. Like that type of information you wouldn't get unless you like paid an attorney like $500 for it.
Right.
I just gave you a nugget for free.
Right. A $500 nugget minimum.
Right.
Yeah,
attorneys are expensive.
Right. Yeah, they are, man, for every single thing too. But it's all good. So like for somebody who doesn't know everything about e-commerce or anything at all, what is like a good investment for them to make in the store, getting it up and running, and the marketing and everything? Like, what can you say is something that somebody should have to be able to do it? And I know, don't let anything stop you, but what's just like a ballpark figure?
Really, like when I started 2 years ago, I wasn't balling by any means. I'm still living check to check at this point. So literally all I spent was $12.50. And I was just to go file a DBA with my circuit court here in Virginia. Now, in order to file that document, it's different fees for different states. But I had already had a business register, so I didn't need to go out and do that. But it would be to register as like a sole proprietor or LLC. Which if you do like a sole proprietor, like it's anywhere from like $25 or $50. Some states they even say it's like free. You didn't even get started until you start making money. Right. So for me specifically, it was $12.50. And the unique thing is when you get started with Shopify, and they've been giving out a $100 AdWords credit. And so when the only thing I did was I spent the $12.50 for the DBA. I used a $100 AdWords credit, and that $100 AdWords credit was enough for me to actually bring in $3,400 in sales with that just one credit.
Really? Now I know that. Now that may be like a fairy tale story, because I know somebody listening. That ain't gonna happen for everybody.
Yeah, no, it doesn't happen for everybody. But the thing is like when you do it right. So there's a lot of other things that you have to have done, like specifically like on your website, especially when you're selling like higher ticket items. Like you got to build way more trust, way more confidence with your customers. There's different things that you're going to need to use as far as like urgency and scarcity to get someone to go through like the sales process sooner and quicker rather than later. And that's a lot of stuff that I help people do, specifically like when they go through some of my programs and do coaching with me. But yeah, that's all I started with, because I knew how to do some of the stuff on the front end, like with the website, as far as things that customers will need in order to feel confident about doing that $300 or $3,000 purchase. And so with the foundation being built properly, I was able to maximize that AdWords credit to its full capacity. Right.
So would you say that it is safe to say somebody who has $500 can invest that whole $500 and they can start their whole e-commerce business and store?
Yeah, absolutely. The main thing that you're going to want to invest in is the advertising piece. Now, advertising, the thing is like, so when the biggest and hottest thing right now is Facebook. Everybody's going crazy over like Facebook advertising, like, oh, Facebook, yay. Right. Personally, I do zero Facebook advertising.
Really?
Yeah, people always freak out when I tell them that.
That's interesting.
They're like, what? Like, actually, I actually spend money on Bing over Facebook.
Really? And is that is that Bing specific, or is that like a part of AdWords, or it's just Bing?
No, I mean, yeah, like literally, like, so I have Google AdWords set up where I run a specific campaign called a product listing ad campaign, which will list your products on the shopping section on Google. And I have a dynamic retargeting campaign set up, which, if you don't know what that is, pretty much it's the equivalent of what I like to call like internet stalking. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say you go on Google and you type in like red sweatshirt, right? And you see the red sweatshirts pulled up on JCPenney. So you go to their website and you take a look at it, and, you know, for whatever reason, you don't decide to purchase it. So then you start browsing browsing the internet the following day, and let's just say you're on like entrepreneurmagazine.com, and then all of a sudden you see like a little section of the article you're reading. There's a photo of that same exact red sweater from JCPenney. That sweater didn't get there by accident.
Right, exactly.
That's specifically through targeting, and so that's the other campaign that I run through Google. And I just wanted to share that with the audience because I know some people might not be familiar with, you know, some of these terms and stuff that they would use.
Right.
So I like to give context to the content.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I got the dynamic remarketing campaign set up. I use Google product listing ads, and specifically through Bing, I also have a product listing ad campaign set up with them because they also have an opportunity for you to do that as well over there. And plus, if you didn't know, Yahoo's search index is actually shut down. So whatever it is that you rank at very well on Bing, you'll also show up at the same placement on Yahoo too.
That's what's up. So let me ask you this. So why don't you do Facebook?
I just know specifically with higher ticket items, the sales cycle is a lot longer versus what it is when you're using search engines. So I had a buddy of mine recently, you know, make these two different analogies to where, you know, when you look at someone coming in from Google versus Facebook, or like a search engine versus Facebook, what you're able to do with a search engine is you're able to target people based off of intent, versus on Facebook, you're able to target people based off of interest. All right. So the difference between intent versus interest is on Facebook only allows you to have the ability to target what your customer looks like.
Right.
Okay. Like the demographics, the makeup of like who they are, how much money they spend, are they male or female, age group, things of that nature. So you're able to target what someone looks like, but that has no basis off of whether or not they want to spend money with you.
Right.
You're just putting an ad in front of somebody that's not even looking for something, and hoping that they have the ability to want to be able to purchase what it is that you want to sell. Now the thing is, if you're selling products that are priced less than $40, you know, Facebook is phenomenal. Like Facebook is like where you want to drive traffic, because when you're asking somebody to spend $20 with you versus $2,000, like it's so easy for you to spend $20. Like I was on Facebook the other day, I seen an ad. I bought some like super fancy magical soap that's like supposed to like, you know, remove scars and like a whole bunch of nonsense. Like the video was cool, so I was like, oh, you know, soap's $12, $8 a shipping, yeah, I'll buy it. Right. You know, so like that's what Facebook is for. You know, you're not going to convince someone to buy, let's say, you know, a 7-seater kitchen dining room table that doesn't show that they're actually interested in actually buying it at this point in time. Like they don't have the intent. They might be interested at some point later down the road, but you're not able to target that person that wants to get it today. Right. So the sales cycle is a lot longer. So you got to do a lot more nurturing with the lead long term versus when I target somebody on Google, I can target someone that specifically says they want that product.
Nice.
In addition to that, you're able to then, like with the shopping section on Google, I look at the shopping section on Google as like the equivalent of going to a mall. Meaning that the reason why malls charge so much space for businesses to rent in their locations is because people that go to a mall have the intent on purchasing something. Now, I'm not referring to people that are in like their, you know, early 20s or like late teens, because, you know, when we went to the mall to hang out, chase girls, chase boys, like, you know, we ain't had no intent on like doing anything as far as buying nothing. Right. But as an adult now, I only go to the mall when I want to buy something. You know, you're not going to catch me in the mall for anything else. I'm going there to buy something. So when someone comes into a mall, they're already in the state of purchasing something. So like those little kiosks that you see in the mall, like those kiosks to rent aren't cheap. They're anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000. When I was running a kiosk for a company, we were paying $10,000 a month to be in the mall.
Right.
The reason why they can charge that is because the state of the people coming to that location is in the buying mood. So they know what your return on investment could be if you maximize the space that you have. So that's what the shopping section is on Google. It's the same place like a mall is, because no one clicks on the shopping section on Google unless they potentially have the interest of purchasing.
Got you. That makes perfect sense. So you're, and just to make this clear,
and you get me all fired up in this call, man.
Well, that's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be, because this is very interesting, because what you're saying, I know it's going to open up a lot of different minds, because everybody's talking about Facebook. But, you know, it's kind of like now that everybody's talking about Facebook, Google is like wide open. You know what I mean?
Oh, man, the shopping section on Google it's freaking wide open like crazy. Like, while everybody's over there talking about Facebook, I'm just like licking my chops over here, because the shopping section is so powerful. And the thing is most people have no idea that it has that power that I just talked about.
Right.
And it's just like, man, I just know I'm in a really good spot.
Right. Now is it cheaper than
I would say like
Facebook ads? Because I know Facebook, you can set your limit and it could be as much as you want, but you know, on average, like, what would you say? I
would say, you know, it can vary. It's really niche dependent, you know, because like it's going to cost me in some cases like less to acquire a customer than someone else. But like, you know, I'm looking at like, so for the main store that I have that does a majority of my revenue, you know, my cost per acquisition is like $27 or $28 to acquire a customer versus, you know, someone else where it might be, you know, $15 to acquire a customer, but then they might be selling like lower ticket items. So like it's really hard to gauge, like, you know, as far as like a cost comparison aspect. But I will say, as far as like a return on investment, with getting someone through the sales cycle quicker, you can do that. You can have that ability faster, I believe, especially with higher ticket items, using Google than what you would with Facebook. And again, this is really focused on higher ticket items. And when I say higher ticket items, I mean anything that's over $200. Right. So products that have like an average price point of $200 and above, you're going to get a quicker ROI using Google and even Bing, using Google and Bing and search engines over Facebook, because you got to walk someone through that process if they're not genuinely interested in actually buying those products. Right,
because on Google and the internet and not Facebook, people are searching for the things.
Exactly. Like, no one says, like, when they want something, I'm going to Facebook it. Right. Or I'm going to go to Facebook. The first thing everyone always says is, I'm going to Google it. Right. You know, they're going to go to Google to get more information. You know, because honestly, like, when you really think about it, and, you know, a lot of people are raving about running Facebook ads and selling physical products and services, you know, your goal with your ad is to disrupt someone's thought process and pattern as they're scrolling, because they had no intentions on buying anything as they're browsing through Facebook. Right. 100%. Dang, I like this a lot, man. So let me ask you this. Somebody's listening to this right now, and they may be offering a service, right? Let's just say they're like a coach or something like that. Could you use Google Ads for that as well? Like in the marketplace? Yeah, you could definitely use... Yeah, you would more so want to use like the text ads, and you know, you'd want to target specific phrases. You know, like someone saying personal development coach. You know, that's obviously someone that's looking to hire a coach for personal development, or you know, something of that nature. So yeah, you can target those specific search phrases. And the cool thing about Google is, let's say you offer services like, you know, that you're doing like services only in the Atlanta area. You can actually target on Google all the way down to the zip code and the radius. Right. And say, hey, only show my ads to these people in this zip code and this circumference. Right. And you could just dominate your lane, you know, specifically in your area. Absolutely. And you know, I think that's something really powerful. But more importantly, like, you can dominate specifically like with the stuff that people are actually searching for, and indirectly waving their hand saying, hey, I want to potentially buy this. I'm just looking for who I want to buy it from.
Absolutely, 100%. So somebody wanting to start, e-commerce store, and they want to start Facebook ads, they go to Facebook, right? That's easy. We got it. Go to manage ads or create ads. Somebody wants to run ads on Bing. Where do they go? Just Bing.com and that's it? Or?
Yeah, so if we're talking about Bing, the first thing you're going to want to do is get connected with their Webmaster Tools, which is, a little process that they walk you through. Yeah, Webmaster Tools. And once you walk through Webmaster Tools, they're going to verify your domain, verify that you are who you say you are. The next thing that you're going to need to do, now depending on what types of ads that you want to set up, whether you want to set up text ads or product listing ads, there's going to be two different steps that you're going to want to take. Text ads are going to be more simple. You can just give Bing the terms and stuff that you want to bid on and say, hey, I want you to place my ad in front of these people and say this message. So that part's simple. Now, when it comes to setting up the product listing ads, what you're going to have to do is create a data feed, and then you're going to need to connect that data feed to your Bing Webmaster Tools account. So if you're using something like Shopify, there's actually multiple different apps that you could just literally just go to their app marketplace and then just type in Bing ads or Bing shopping feed, and there'll be a bunch of different apps that pop up. Choose the one that you like, and then what's going to happen is you're going to download the app, and then that app is going to take all the products that you have on your site, and it's going to create a feed of all that product information and send it over to Bing. So once Bing has verified that they can read all the information off of your site, then they're going to allow you to actually set up a PLA campaign, which again is just the shopping section on Bing, so you can start running your ads, over there too as well.
Got you. And so, last question: somebody wants to run ads on Google. Do they go on Google.com? Do they go from their Gmail? Where do they go to kind of set it up?
Yeah, so and this right here, this is literally $1,000 conversation.
I feel like it's an $8,000 conversation.
So in order to set up to run PLA ads on Google, what you have to do is, like you said, you got to have a Gmail account, number one. Number two, you have to set up an AdWords account first. Mm-hmm. Now, all that means is that you just need to walk through this setup process and verify your domain. And then what they're going to do is they're going to generate a customer number for you that's going to be in the top right-hand corner. At this point, you just need to stop what you're doing. Don't do anything else. Once you get that customer ID generated, just stop. The next thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to literally Google what's called Google Merchant Center. All right. And you're going to need to create an account using with the Merchant Center using the customer ID that just got generated. And if you're wondering what the Google Merchant Center is for, what that's for is that's Google's central hub to actually review your products before they allow you to go live on Google. So that's one of the differences between Bing and Google's. Bing, you don't have that extra step, but with Google you do. So you download the Merchant Center, or you get connected with the Merchant Center rather, and you get set up through there. Put in all your personal business information, yada yada yada. The next thing you need to do is now you have to create a data feed to send that data from your website over to the Google Merchant Center. Now, I keep referencing Shopify, but if you're not using Shopify, I know WooCommerce, which is a WordPress plugin to do an e-commerce store. They have different plugins, Magento, BigCommerce, they have all different stuff. It's just really easy to do if you have Shopify. Now, specifically with Shopify, in order to create this data feed, when you go to the shopping app, you just literally put in Google Shopping app on Shopify. So when you go to the app market on Shopify, just put in Google Shopping app, and you want to select the one that Shopify specifically created, because this one I know works phenomenal. I know people that have multi-million-dollar stores, and we're all using the same app. Mm-hmm. All right, so it works great. Don't go find another one. Use the one I'm telling you to use. Right. It's the one that says it's created by Shopify. Download that app. And then what Shopify is going to do is going to do the same thing like we just mentioned before with Bing. It's going to extract all that data to create a feed to then send that data over to Google Merchant Center. In the Merchant Center, that's where Google is specifically. Now, when you first start out, the difference between Google and Bing is Google is really going to actually take a look at your site. They're in most cases, either through the spiders that crawl your site or them physically, they're going to really review everything that's on your website. And this is where you have to have all your stuff tightened up. You got to make sure that you have a privacy policy, terms of service agreement, contact us page, a real phone number, a shipping policy, a return policy, and all of the information needs to be easily and readily accessible to all your customers. Because if it's not, they will actually disapprove your products.
Got you, man. And that goes for the same for like text ads as well, right? The same process, or is it kind of like Bing, where it's just kind of just easy?
Oh no, so like same with Google with the text ads. Yeah, that's simple. Yeah, okay. You just the other thing I forgot to mention with the shopping app that you download with Google, it's going to ask you for your merchant center ID number, so you need to make sure that you have that readily available to connect to your merchant center too as well. Because the reason why most people can't take advantage of the shopping section on Google is because they don't know how to do what I just walked you through.
Right, absolutely.
Like I literally just had someone pay me $200 just to do this.
Right. Man, so what do you see as the future of e-commerce?
Man, e-commerce is, if you keep up with the news at all, and actually I don't watch the news, but I do keep up with like stuff that pops up on Facebook, and just to stay acclimated to what's happening in the marketplace. But big companies, like you look at Toys R Us, they just declared bankruptcy. Target's not Target, but I know Macy's, they've recently closed down a bunch of stores. There's been companies left and right going out of business, and they literally like equate that back to like e-commerce. It's been like we're shutting them out of business because we're able to offer the same products in most cases at the same price, or have a better offer, and we're literally like taking business away from them. So right now, like if you were interested in doing anything on the internet, e-commerce is the best way to be able to take advantage of being able to create a solid amazing income stream and not have to deal with all the traditional headaches that you would have to deal with. And so that's the big part of it. Then the other part is because a lot of people do know e-commerce is a great opportunity. I always get the question of like, hey, Ernest, like, do you think it's going to be saturated? Like, it seems like so many people are doing e-commerce. Like, I don't know if I can do it. I'm just like, I look at that as the equivalent of like, Burger King and McDonald's. Like they both make hamburgers. Right. But, Burger King's, quote unquote, like unique element with their hamburgers is they're like, I think like flame grilled or something like that. Versus like McDonald's, like they're just slapped on like, like a regular grill and then just put on a burger. Both of them are bad for you, by the way. But, the thing is that, they both offer the same product, but they just have their own unique way of offering it. Right. So, the thing is for me, it's just like, part of like what I walk people through like product research is like figuring out the interest level and the demand in the marketplace, and then how has the product performed over the last 5 to 10 years. And so when we look at the track record for those products specifically, now it's just like what can I bring that's unique to the marketplace for these products. Right. And that's when you're able to like really like put yourself in your own lane and be creative as an entrepreneur. Like, how are you servicing your customers? Like, what incentives are you giving your customers? I do all different types of things. Like sometimes I'll do like expedited shipping. Sometimes I'll do like a free gift that I give away. Sometimes I'll do like a reduced cost. Every scenario is a little bit different depending upon the store, but I'm able to like really create a unique shopping experience for the customers online that they're not going to find offline. Right.
And that's how you put the brick and mortars out of business.
Exactly.
Man, look.
And for me, like, I don't got to have the whole pie. I'm okay with having 10 million. Right. Like, I don't got to have the whole billion, 2 billion, like, 5 billion. I ain't got to have that. I'm okay with 10 million. I think that's enough, just for my e-com portfolio.
Absolutely. And then just invest that in other things.
Exactly.
And grow that. Yep. Man, Ernest, man, this has been like, everybody listen, this is like you giving a seminar, man. Like, but this is like a high level mastermind right now. Like, people pay $80,000 a year for this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So how can people contact you? Where can they come find out more about you, what you got going on, everything?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, which is earnestepps.com, and that's EARNESTEPPS.com. So you can head on over to earnestepps.com. That's where I got updates about all the awesome stuff that I'm doing. I got some free training, like free gifts that I give away on there for people that come to my site. And, you know, that's where you'll be able to see a lot of other media stuff and like where I'm speaking at, what events are going on. So, you know, we can see you at a event near you. And also you know, you can find me on social media. I have the same first and last name, which is Earnest Epps, EARNEST EPPS, and that's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, WhatsApp, Pinterest, you know, everything that's out there.
Right, got you. Well, that's going to be in the show notes, man. And do you have anything else left to say? Any closing remarks to anybody listening?
Yeah, you know, the biggest thing, guys, is like, you know, I know I covered a lot of content, and if you're not currently already doing some of the stuff that I talked about, just, you know, figure out what thing it is that you need for you right now, and then just go execute on that. So, you know, we were really talking about a lot of like Facebook and Google and Bing. Now, the thing is that I literally, the difference between me and like most people is like they'll try and go out here and do everything because they know everyone's making money doing a lot of those different things. The difference between me, though, is the fact that I mastered my PLA campaigns before I started Bing campaign. You know, then I mastered my Bing campaign. Now the next campaign that I'm going to start is Facebook.
Right.
So,
okay.
Instead of trying to do too many things at once, because literally, like, you know, there's only one you, unless you have a partner, but then there's only two of you guys, and, you know, you can focus on doing one thing each. But the thing is that the more things that you give yourself to try to do all at the same time, you know, you end up doing it at a lesser capacity than what you would have if you would have focused. So that's why now, like with my PLA campaign that I have with Bing, or with Google rather, I spend $1 and it brings me in $34.
Nice.
Every time I spend $1 on advertising, I get $34 in sales.
Nice.
You know, so that wouldn't have been able to happen, you know, had I not been able to like really dial in like what's going to make this campaign, you know, the most profitable as I'm running it. So that's the biggest thing. Just don't focus on a ton of different stuff, you know, and focus on like something that's going to help, you know, get you successful. And if you're what I call balling on the budget, and you're like what I was like 2 years ago, you know, just don't let what you can't do stop you from what you can do.
Right. Yeah.
All right. And we'll say that again. Don't let what you can't do stop you from what you can do.
Right.
So, you know, 2 years ago, I couldn't afford doing a $50 a day budget. But what I could control is maximizing, number one, that $100 AdWord credit. Then number two, positioning myself that had that $100 AdWord credit fell out, that, you know, I had at least a few bucks to spend on advertising a day. Because the only thing I can promise you is if you don't get traffic to your website, nobody will see it and you won't make any money. Right. That's what I can promise you.
That's the biggest thing in this new age of digital marketing. Yeah, man. Well, I just want to say thank you for your time, and thank you for giving everybody listening just so much information and knowledge and wisdom, because you really did drop it on everybody. Like, for real. It's been very valuable, and everybody listening, hit up Ernest, hit him up, let him know you listen, let him know that, you know, this was valuable. Let him know that you starting a store, and let him know that you about to buy his course. You know what I mean? Like, let him know, hit him up, because this is real life gold right here. Like, if gold had a voice, like, this would be it. Like, for real. So yeah,
that's funny you bring that up too, because I tell people right now, e-commerce is the modern day gold rush.
Yeah, like it's happening so fast. Like, people are literally becoming millionaires in months. Like, it's never happened like this before. So everybody listening, make it happen. I thank you for listening, and that's going to be today's show.
Thanks for listening to the Starts with a Vision podcast. Come get your vision clear at www.startswithavision.com. See you there.